Three compact crossover SUVs sat in adjacent service bays this morning, each showing well over 200,000 miles on the dashboard display. On paper, these choices represent the gold standard of practical daily transportation. A 2016 Toyota RAV4, a 2016 Honda CR-V, and a 2016 Subaru Forester. Each driver pulled into the shop operating under the exact same assumption, that routine oil changes and basic maintenance had kept their vehicle in peak operating condition. However, performing systematic mechanical checks across all three platforms revealed a starkly different reality under the lift. Two of these vehicles are ready to head back onto the road, requiring nothing more than minor, low-cost consumable parts to reach their next milestone. The third vehicle is operating with a severe, documented engine defect that creates a genuine financial decision for the owner. That driver left the shop entirely unaware of the slow failure taking place inside the engine block. The diagnostic teardown across these three high-mileage four-cylinder engines shows exactly how each platform holds up over time, beginning with the crossover that turned routine maintenance into a critical repair bill. First up, the 2016 Subaru Forester. On this generation, the 2.5-liter boxer four-cylinder engine sits low in the engine bay, laying horizontally rather than vertically. That flat design keeps the center of gravity low, but it also creates unique challenges for oil retention and ring wear as the engine ages. Pulling the dipstick on this car immediately flagged the primary issue. The oil level barely touched the very tip of the indicator blade, even though the service sticker on the windshield showed an oil change performed under 2,000 miles ago. Pulling the spark plugs on cylinders 2 and 4 revealed heavy carbon crusting and wet, dark oil residue baked directly around the electrode threads. On these high-mileage flat-4 engine configurations, low-tension piston rings gradually lose their sealing tension over time, allowing oil to sweep right past the piston skirts and burn inside the combustion chamber. At the exact same time, active liquid seepage showed along the lower valve cover gaskets where gravity forces oil to pool against the rubber seals. When an engine consumes a quart of synthetic oil every 600 to 800 miles without leaving obvious puddles on the driveway, most drivers never catch it. They simply drive until the oil pressure light flickers on a highway ramp. By the time that dashboard light illuminates, oil starvation has already scored the main crankshaft bearings and overheated the valvetrain. Resealing this top end, replacing the oil-fouled plugs, and installing fresh valve cover gaskets comes to roughly $1,800 in labor and shop time. But if that low oil condition has already compromised the internal bearings, swapping out the entire short block assembly easily pushes total repair costs between $3,000 and $4,500, a figure that instantly eclipses the practical market value of a high-mileage crossover. Moving over to the middle bay, the focus turns to the 2016 Honda CR-V, lifting the plastic engine cover off the direct-injected 2.4-liter four-cylinder reveals an engine bay that has clearly been maintained, but the metal itself tells the real story. Unbolting the perimeter fasteners and lifting the valve cover exposes internal aluminum surfaces completely free of golden varnish or thick bronze sludge accumulation. That level of metal clarity proves this K24 engine received synthetic oil changes consistently at or before 5,000-mile intervals throughout its 200,000-mile period. Inspecting the intake and exhaust camshaft lobes under bright shop lighting shows mirror smooth wear tracks across every single journal, with zero heat discoloration, scoring, or pitting along the lobe tips. The oil drainback galleries down into the crankcase remain completely open, ensuring oil circulates freely without pooling in the upper head assembly. Turning to the timing system, inspecting the hydraulic timing chain tensioner through the side access port shows the ratchet mechanism operating within normal extension limits. There is zero evidence of chain stretch, guide rail grooving, or the characteristic metallic rattle on cold startup that often plagues neglected direct-injection Honda engines. Moving underneath the lift, dropping the lower pan on Honda's continuous variable transmission, provides a clear look at the internal health of the fluid circuit. Draining the HCF2 fluid reveals a clean, amber-tinted color with no burnt friction odor. Examining the pan's internal collection, magnets shows only a faint, fine haze of microscopic clutch powder, well within normal operating thresholds for a high-mileage Beltan pulley CVT that spent most of its period cruising on the highway. Plugging in an advanced diagnostic scan tool to query the engine and transmission control units confirms zero active or pending trouble codes. Live data monitoring shows fuel trim values resting near 0%, cylinder misfire counters showing clean zeros across all 4 cylinders, and transmission fluid pressure readings aligning perfectly with factory targets. Shifting from the powertrain to the chassis inspection reveals only 2 distinct wear items across the entire vehicle. First, a light film of oil mist is beginning to seep along the rear lip of the rubber valve cover gasket, where thermal expansion degrades the factory seal over time. Second, prying against the front suspension with a pry bar exposes surface cracking and rubber degradation along the inner sleeves of the lower control arm bushings. Replacing the valve cover gasket and spark plug tube seals costs roughly $130 in parts and labor. Unbolting the subframe mounts, pressing out the worn arms, and installing new lower control arm assemblies with a fresh front-end alignment runs $320. That brings the grand total to $450 to bring this CR-V back into pristine mechanical condition. Finally, in the end bay, the 2016 Toyota RAV4. This platform features the naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine paired with a traditional 6-speed torque converter automatic transmission. Unbolting the upper valve cover revealed an engine head in pristine mechanical condition, identical in cleanliness to the Honda, showing zero carbon buildup, clean valve stem seals, and nominal timing chain wear. However, where the RAV4 pulls ahead of its competitors is in its underlying drivetrain architecture. While the Honda relies on a continuous variable transmission that demands strict, specialized fluid flush schedules to prevent belt chatter and slip past 200,000 miles, Toyota's 6-speed automatic uses heavy-duty planetary gear sets. The fluid drain from this RAV4 came out dark red rather than burnt black. Gear engagement under load was instantaneous, and 0 diagnostic trouble codes were stored in the transmission control module. The sum total of flagged items across the entire vehicle check came down to slightly worn front sway bar end links and a dirty engine air filter. Total cost for parts and labor, $160. Side by side, these 3 crossovers tell a clear story. While the Subaru poses a massive financial risk due to unmonitored internal oil burning, the Honda and Toyota prove that 200,000 miles is merely a baseline milestone for properly maintained Japanese engines. But with its bulletproof 6-speed automatic transmission, low wear tolerances, and 0 oil loss between oil changes, the Toyota RAV4 earns its place as the single clear winner on the lift today.